I'm a coach, I'm a former athlete, and I'm a researcher. I'm an academician. And I'm currently a professor in kinesiology at San Jose State University, even though I did do all of my school here in Canada. So my context really is formed from the Canadian context. And I've had the privilege of branching out and doing a lot of my research and working with groups, teams in particular, from a sporting context in the United States. So I'm really going to try and meld both of those worlds during my presentation. When I started 15 years ago, my master's was looking at varsity teams and the varsity culture and really trying to figure out what is going on in the world of hazing. And on the back of that, for my PhD dissertation, after I figured out or heard from the voices of the students and the varsity athletes as to what was going on, I wanted to come up with some ideas for a replacement. Because over and over again, what I got from the athletes was that, you know, what we think hazing is doing for our group, bringing us closer together, creating this team cohesion and these bonds, really is having the opposite effect, as Dave highlighted in his talk as well. It's actually, you know, creating these or planting these seeds of resentment where I really don't like some of these people for what they made me do. So I came up with a 2-year plan to work with groups where we did things called alternative orientations. So I worked with groups that were already hazing, and I approached them and said, hey, let's try something a little different and measure whether you think it works or not. So what did the athletes get out of this? And remember, this is all just coming from their words. So this is what they told me. One of the most important things is that they realized that they felt like human beings in this group, as opposed to a pledge or a rookie. People got to know their names, they got to know something about their family history, they got to know them as people. And this was hugely important. Because think about how important you know, your social groups and your relationships are. They are founded in knowing something about that person. It also makes it a lot harder, when you know someone's personal history, it makes it a lot harder to do something that might be offside, like giving them a body shave or, you know, an enema with Rub A535 or sodomizing someone with a hockey stick. It makes it a lot harder to do those types of things once you've got that bond of friendship. The second thing is it broke down a lot of that hierarchy and created a more democratic structure, where whether you were a 4th-year player or a 1st-year player, you all felt like you had worth in that environment. And this really changed that power dynamic. It gave power, it distributed that power, so you didn't feel like you had to do something just for the sake of doing something. And this really enabled that group to think about themselves as a team in a different way.